Um, Women's rights are very much related to the climate change because women are at the forefront in taking the burden of the climate change as well as being a good reactor to the climate change because they have some traditional best adaptation facilities, techniques, knowledge. So they're at both the level. So there's a lot, there's a big link between the women's right and the climate change. And what we are trying to do here is that's what we are propagate. In fact, we are trying to make request the authorities or demanding what the gender policies, the climate policy should be gender sensitive and gender responsive. That's what we are trying to give the message out.
So you mentioned there's some knowledge that women have already in their communities that can be implemented. So do you think there's still barriers for capacity building, for example, to implement these programs, or is that not a barrier that you're considering?
Yes, we are considering that because these traditional knowledge which women have, especially in the respect of agriculture and managing disaster or post-disaster situation, they are very, in fact, effective, and it has been sort of quite useful for them all these years. So, what we need to do is sort of upscale them with scientific knowledge, probably, and so that they are more equipped, or the capacity building is more there for the adaptation. That's what we are trying to work.
So particularly in India, in the grassroots level, do you see more action in terms of mitigation, more action in terms of adaptation, and how are these programs being balanced?
From our organization, we are actually doing both mitigation and adaptation work. We are propagating solar equipments, and we are actually training the women as an income generation opportunities for them. We have trained a lot of women in repairing of the solar equipments as well, so that's an income generation opportunity, as well as we train them to use the solar dryers or solar equipments. So that's our mitigation part. And adaptation level, we work with the National Disaster Management Authority for doing a lot of these TOTs or trainings for the disaster preparedness. Plus also we do some training on the minimum initial service package for the sexual and reproductive health in a post-disaster scenario, because that's one thing which is missing in the adaptation strategies or the plan in any post-disaster situation. So that's one thing we are training the women at the forefront and the grassroots level, so that they are able to handle any such situation related to the women. Yeah.
And has there been any involvement from the government in these programs? Is there any willingness to help with the implementation of these programs at the grassroots level?
Yes, there is. This trainings which we are doing, the post-disaster situation training, MISP, which we call minimum initial. It's with the National Disaster Management Authority, who have come out with the booklet for doing this training. And National Disaster Management Authority is a government body, part of a government body. So we are doing the training with them, and they are trying to come up with more schemes like community-based disaster management and gender sensitive. Also, I think they are planning to come up with. So they are coming up with few more schemes, and we are trying to work with them on that.
And in your experience here at the COP in Lima, do you see this particular initiatives from the government in India being replicated with other grassroots organizations in other countries? Or how do you see the processes moving forward with amplifying voices in grassroots organizations?
Not much, I think. That's why the CSOs are here, so that we can bring the attention of the government back to the reality level or the practical level a little more, because I think the government delegations who are involved here, they are more at the policy level, and we are trying to get the message from the grassroots level to the um, government delegations. So it's not reflected much, and we are trying to do it on a better scale. Yeah.